Politicians can't do their job. Our congresspeople, our senators, our House of Representatives, they have one primary job: pass a budget. It doesn't look like they're able to do that. So there's talk of a shutdown. So I'm going to talk about that. There's a lot of information out there about social media about a government shutdown and how that is going to affect your Social Security check. And I'm going to tell you in about 2 seconds how it's going to affect your Social Security check. But for those new people that are watching, one of the things we do on this channel, hello, welcome. My name is Edward. I ran the third busiest Social Security office in the country. And I'm going to teach y'all how the tips, tricks, and secrets of getting your benefits on time, getting in touch with the Social Security. I'm going to tell you a lot of tips, tricks, and secrets most people don't know. Because even if they do pass a budget and they avoid the shutdown and they fund it for a few 4 months until they, run into this issue again, there's still a lot of people are having a hard time getting the benefits they're eligible for. Benefits they paid into the system for decades and decades and decades, because the Social Security Administration has had such a terrible, in terms of resources, Congress refuses to fund Social Security. And this is not this administration alone. It's gotten 10 times worse under this because of Elon Musk and Doge and everything. But it's been a long time coming. It's been decades. Social Security, even before the current administration, was at a 50-year low in terms of employees to actually help you get those benefits. So a lot of people are having issues getting those benefits. And for those, if that's you or a friend or a family, I'm going to give you a bunch of tips and tricks so you can go out there and help people out, and you can tell them these tips and tricks so you can fight the bureaucracy. Okay, so let me get to the shutdown. Shutdown doesn't really affect Social Security. You're still going to get your checks, so stop the social media people out there always trying to freak people out about your checks. Is it going to continue? Is it going to stop? They're going to continue. There are a few things that the Social Security Administration can't do during a government shutdown. How do I know? Because when I ran my office, we went through several government shutdowns. And one of the things that we did is, hey, if people come into the Social Security office and they need a new Social Security card, a replacement Social Security card, we couldn't do that. There are some exceptions if you give them kind of a hard luck story that, hey, if I don't get my Social Security card, I won't be able to get this job, and if I don't get this job, then I'm going to be out on the street and stuff like that. So there are exceptions, but general Social Security replacement cards, they don't do. If you need a background, what's called a DQUE, your detailed earnings query, work history, because you're looking for a mortgage or something like that, they're not going to do that during the shutdown. But everything else, the offices will be open. The lines are probably going to be, as usual, out the door. But you are going to be able to get your checks and everything like that. Okay, so that's how it works. That's how it's always worked for decades and decades. No telling whether this one is going to be a little bit different, because we see each side kind of demonizing the other side. And anyway, I'm not going to go into that. Anyway, so for those people that even before the shutdown were having a hard time getting their benefits, here's some tips and tricks. The number one thing is, if you're having a hard time getting in and out of the phone, so you're calling the 800 number, the national number, or you're calling your local Social Security office, and sometimes the offices have their number in like a Google search or something like that, but quite often they've been moving the district offices, the 1,200 offices throughout the country, they've been moving to not listing their local numbers, and they just put the 800 number down there, the general 800 number. And so you can't find the number to the local office. I'm building a new website to help people out with Medicaid and Medicare and food stamps and Social Security and stuff like that. And part of that new website, I'm going to put all the phone numbers for all the offices up there. So I have a list. It's not that list, but I have a list. But here's a trick. Those 1,200 offices I mentioned, every one of those offices is your office. So if you live in a big city and you're trying to call some big, your local office that you usually go to, and it never goes through, or the new thing now is you get that stupid AI, that artificial intelligence. I've called different numbers and I get that AI, and that AI it's terrible. It just gives you stupid information, and then you ask it a question, it gives you the same recording, and you sit there and have to listen to the same stupid recording 2 or 3 times. It's just, yeah. Sometimes some people say it's been working, and other times, so anyway, not so much. So those 1,200 offices, every one of those offices are your office. And that's one of the reasons my office was the 3rd busiest in the country, is because other people in the city, there were 2 other offices, but they wanted to come to my office, our office, because we were so awesome. Anyway, that's not because of me. I had awesome employees. So if you live in a big city, Chicago or Houston or Miami or something like that, and you're having a hard time, call another office. Pick some office in some remote area of Kansas or Idaho or Nebraska or something like that, a little small town. And you call that, you find that number, look it up in Google, give me in Omaha, Nebraska, or, some office there, and call them up. And they will invariably tell you, this is not your office. You need to call the office that's, based on your zip code. And you tell them, you say, is there a big sign out in front of your building that says Social Security Administration? They say, yeah. Okay, well, you are my office. So every office is your office. So that's a trick to get around those phone nightmares. That is if, you're calling and, something kind of new. If you have a pending case and that there's a paper case, you're filing for disability benefits, or you have an overpayment or something like that, and it's being worked in your local office, then you need to stick to your local office. But most things, you need to change your direct deposit, you need to change your address, you need to schedule an appointment, whatever the case may be, you can pretty much do that in any office. So you got a question about, withholding or, starting your Medicare Part B or, whatever the case may be, any office in the country can help you out. And don't let them tell you that, well, I can't help you out because you're not in our jurisdiction. No, that's all BS. So they have to help you out. All right. And what a lot of people are, they're losing money because they're not getting into the offices. They're not contacting their office. Social Security has this thing called protective filing. As soon as you reach out to Social Security and you tell them, hey, I intend to file for my retirement benefits or disability benefits or survivor benefits or whatever the case may be, that's called a protective filing. So if you call them, let's say this month, September, and they say, okay, all right, we'll set you up an appointment to get your benefits, and we don't have any appointments until November, and then something happens in November, and you're not able to make your appointment, and okay, I need to reschedule for January. That's fine. January, you get the appointment, you file for your benefits, and you tell them at that time, remember, I have a protective filing going back to September. So even though this is January, I want to start my benefits effective September when I first called you. And if that's what you want to do, they have to do it because you had a protective filing go back to September. And this is one of the issues that when people try to go to the local office and they're kicked out of their local office, and I'm going to tell you how to prevent that, or they call and they get that stupid AI, and then they are not able to reach out again till like the next week or which turns into the next month, they just lost that month of benefits because they don't know. So you, your friends, your family, make sure you share this information. If you call, let's say you call today and you get some stupid AI thing and it goes in circles and you're trying to schedule an appointment to start your Medicare or your retirement or survivor benefits or disability benefits or whatever the case may be, and you get that stupid AI, and then you're not able to call them up until next month, October 1st or October 2nd. Make sure you tell them at that time, hey, I tried to call you people, even though I didn't get through, on your phone, take a little picture that you were on hold for an hour. You got the 800 number there, the Social Security number, and you've got that you were on hold for an hour. Take a little screenshot of that or something, or show them your phone bill and said, hey, I tried to call y'all last month and y'all just didn't pick up. So I want my benefits to start last month when I tried to call you. It's not my fault y'all didn't pick up the phone. So that's an important one. In terms of timing, if you're filing for any type of benefits, if you're filing for disability, apply. Don't wait for medical documents. Don't wait, well, I'll see the doctor next week and let's see what, no, if you think you're disabled, unable to work, file, because it takes a good 9 months nowadays to get your decision on a disability claim. So you need to start that process as soon as possible. I've got a bunch of videos on filing for disability, tips, tricks, and secrets and all that. But if you're just filing for regular retirement benefits, spouse benefits, surviving spouse benefits, you can file up to 3 months ahead of time. But if you're going to call and you want an appointment to talk to someone, in the office or over the phone or something like that, I would call even before that, because again, if you call today, you're probably not going to get an appointment until next month or the month after. And the Social Security employee can basically only take that claim 3 or 4 months ahead of the game before you want to start your benefits. There are some exceptions, but I would avoid those exceptions because then you're depending on that particular employee to do the right thing. And yeah, so it's how the sausage is made. I don't want to go into too much detail, but you don't want to start it too early, even if the Social Security employee says, "Oh yeah, it's 6 months. I'll hold on to it," and then I'll go ahead and take your claim now, and then I'll hold on to it, and then I'll when it comes time, I'll go ahead and adjudicate it. Yeah, you don't want that because something might happen. They might get fired by whoever. So okay. And this is also extremely important for those people that are filing for Medicare after the fact. So if you had Medicare, if you were eligible for Medicare at let's say at 65 years old, and you had health insurance from work. So now you're 70 years old and you declined Part B and Part A, and now you lost your employment, you lost health insurance from work. You just found out your company was sold out or went bankrupt or whatever the case may be, and you need to start your benefits, your Medicare next month because you're going to lose your health insurance this month. Those are the people that are really going to be hurting because they need to start that immediately. If you're filing for retirement, 62 years old, you're like, oh, I'm 3 months out, so I'll go ahead and do it. But some people need to get stuff started immediately. And that's definitely people that are in Medicare, that special enrollment period. So you really, really have to push in this particular case. And, if they call you up and they say, and you call up and say, yeah, I need to start my, Part B, Medicare. And they say, oh, okay, yeah, there's an appointment in 2 months. You're going to be without health insurance. You might not be able to see your doctors. You can't get your prescriptions and stuff like that. So it's very important that you push and get it done quickly. And here's one of the tricks of getting into an office. So for Medicare, if you're starting it during the special enrollment period, here's my website. It's mygovexpert.com, and you click on the little Medicare thing here, and it talks about enrollment periods. You can get this on SSA.gov as well if you want. It talks about when you can sign up for Medicare during, you're 65, when you can sign up during the general enrollment period, January, February, March. But in terms of if you've lost health insurance from work, yours or your spouse's, and you need to sign up, you just need a couple of forms. The 40B, which I've got a link for right there, and the CMS L564. This is the one that you give to your employer that proves you actually did have health insurance. So, all right. So if all of a sudden you find out today that you're going to be losing your job and you lose your health insurance next week, then you need to take action immediately and then get those forms done and go down to the local office, and you will see a guard there. And the guard will say, you have to make an appointment. And the guards, they work for Federal Protective Services. They're contracted. They're not Social Security employees. They don't, if you ask them a Social Security question and they answer it, then you need to tell somebody that a real Social Security employee, because the guards are not supposed to be answering Social Security type questions. They're there to protect the public and, work the line, but they're not supposed to be answering Social Security questions because they don't know the answers. Sometimes they think they do, but anyway, so what you do is, when they say, no, you need an appointment, you need to call, yada, 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 you tell them, hey, this is a critical thing. I'm not going to be able to get my medication. I'm not going to be able to see my doctor. And this is a crucial issue. and I gotta get in there because you don't want this on the news that I'm not be able to get my medication, and I'm going to call my congressperson and stuff like that. So you just have to work the guard, and they'll say, oh, okay, this sounds like it's a an emergency type situation that you need your Part B to start immediately, so you can go out there and get your stuff, and they better let you in. If they don't, then probably asked to talk to the district manager or one of the operations supervisors. But if they're really being, difficult, then you just tell them, hey, all right, you work for Federal Protective Services, you work for the Office of the Inspector General, so those will be the first two calls I make, and your badge number and your name is, and yeah, then they will let you in. So there's that. And okay, last thing before we start the Q&A, so we'll have a live Q&A because there's a lot of exceptions. It looks like I've already got a bunch of questions on survivor benefits based on video questions we received today. So let's get into those. But one of the last things, if you do all of this online, and people think, well, I'm not going to deal with anybody. I just do it online. You're still going to deal with somebody. You just did it online. Someone at the other end, a Social Security employee, every time you do something online, a Social Security employee has to review that case. If you're looking, to file for retirement benefits or whatever the case may be, and you do it online and you say, well, I did it online and I didn't have to talk to anybody. Well, someone reviewed your case. They checked your gap years to see if there's any gaps in your employment. You should be doing that and bringing that to the attention of the employee. They're looking to make sure your documentation is correct. And you're like, well, I didn't have to provide any documentation. Well, that's part of the documentation. They look at your numident to make sure where you were born and make sure your Social Security internally, it all looks good. There's no discrepancies there. So they look at a lot of things before they push the button and actually start your benefits. So just doing it online doesn't mean it's going to get done. So there might be a little, a hiccup in your particular claim, but there's not a Social Security employee on the other side because, they're barely surviving now on a daily, day-to-day basis. So, you might have to wait a long time, even if you file online. Sometimes it goes smoothly and other times it doesn't. And particularly if you send in any kind of documentation. So for the Medicare the special enrollment period, you can send those forms in. The 40B and the 564, you can send those in. But again, they go into a paperless system, which I actually helped design, which works very, very well. Unless they messed it up, but it works very, very well. But still, it goes into that paperless system, and a Social Security employee, an actual human being, has to go in there and grab that document and process it. And that's where the issue starts. So if you need something, just faxing it in and to the system or just pushing the button online, that starts the process, but that's not the entire process. So you need to make sure it gets done. And there's a lot of people every single day, people come in on the comments and the live Q&A and said, I did this, that, and the other, but nothing's happening. And so we give them kind of a heads up on exactly what to do. So, okay, so those are the tips, tricks, and secrets. I think I went through all of them, but there's always exceptions. And remember, so the shutdown, it won't affect Social Security, and except for those, those 2 or 3 small little workloads we're talking about. But remember, the shutdown is going to happen. The shutdown of your money is going to be happening, and that is a guaranteed because politicians are incompetent and they refuse to do what they need to do. In 88 more checks, Social Security Trust Fund is going to run out because you are receiving the Social Security Trust Fund right now, and you're taking that money out of the Social Security Trust Fund if you're receiving benefits, and the trust fund is basically savings. So we as the American people are dipping into our savings to cover our Social Security checks. And I don't know what kind of savings account you have, but they don't last forever. And in 88 more checks, and the 89th check, your check is going to be cut by 23%. So we're at a slow shutdown of our Social Security benefits. If you can handle a 23% cut, then you don't need to do anything. If you don't want it to get cut, if you want politicians to actually do something, which unfortunately they haven't for the past 40 years, then you need to possibly reach out to your politicians and say, hey, what are you doing? They had two opportunities this year. They had the big, beautiful bill for billionaires. They could have done things in there to save the Social Security Trust Fund and to make sure that our benefits aren't cut, but they failed to do anything there to save Social Security. And now they have the continuing resolution where they could put some stuff in there. The continuing resolution, there's limited amount of things they can do for Social Security. They could definitely save Medicaid and prevent the Medicare cuts. There's going to be about $500 billion of Medicare cuts coming because they failed to add to the big, beautiful bill an exclusion for the Pay-Go Act that takes place automatically in a few weeks here. But politicians refuse to do anything because we don't make them do anything. We just sit around and, attack each other. So, except for on our community here, we are all in it together and we all look out for each other. So, all right. So let's get into some Q&A. And so the rest of the hour or so, I will answer any and all questions you have. If I were to start Social Security benefits the year of your full retirement age, if I start 7 months early, will my benefit be permanently reduced for life, even if I go to work after FRA? Will that early reduction still apply? Yes. Start your benefits the year of your full retirement age. So let's say your full retirement age is in August. But you decide to start at 7 months early in, January. Then yes, your benefits will be reduced because you're taking it before your full retirement age. If you took it the month you turn your full retirement age, then your benefits won't be reduced. But if every month you take those benefits early, it's reduced by 1 month. You just have to play around with the numbers. You're like, okay, if I take it 7 months early, yes, it's reduced by 7 months, and maybe it's reduced by $87. But then again, I get 7 months of benefits, and it's $2,000 a month, so I get $14,000, and so you take 14,000 divided by 87 months, and it comes at okay, it's going to take me X amount of years to make that up. So sometimes it's beneficial to take it a little bit early. It really depends on your particular situation. Nobody can tell you when to take it. Hear all these people on social media. You have to take it at 62. You have to take it at full retirement age. You have to take it at 70. Well, no, you don't have to do anything. You do what's best for you. And if you go to work after your full retirement age, yes, it could very well increase. So after your full retirement age, your benefits can increase forever based on two things: COLA, which we'll see what happens there, the cost of living allowance adjustment, or working. Social Security determines your benefit amount by your high 35 years of earnings. If you're 75 years old and you're working and you're paying into Social Security, and that's one of your high 35 years, then they automatically recalculate your benefits and you can just very well get some more money. So thanks for providing such great up-to-date information. Awesome. You're welcome. Sorry for the kind of clickbaity title there about the, the shutdown and stuff, but there's so many people talking about the shutdown. I just wanted to, throw out some original information out there. So they sent me a letter. Hey, Imaginator, long time. They sent me a letter showing I would draw $1,578 a month over a year ago. So far, so good on retirement benefits only. All right, good deal. So yeah, just make sure everything keeps going. Nelson, hey Nelson, yep, hit the likes, thumbs up, and all that kind of good stuff. Perfect, thank you. I rectified the bogus overpayment just in the nick of time, getting that 131 form into SSA. The 131. So bogus overpayment. Yeah. So there's, if you have an overpayment, they send you a nasty gram that says, hey, you owe us $1,000, $2,000, $60,000, whatever the case may be, and you disagree with it, fight it. On my website, I have exactly the forms. I'm not sure what the 131 is, but maybe to request a reconsideration is the 561. So you go on my website and you click on more, and it has overpayment. So I have information on living overseas and veterans and Medicaid and, retirement, everything. But you click on overpayments there, and it tells you request a reconsideration or request to waive it. So always fight it. Don't take their word for it. If you disagree, because there's nobody that knows more about your particular benefits than you. So make sure you fight it if you disagree with it. And if, it's a policy thing, then they'll tell you, okay, yeah, I understand what you're talking about, and your argument is 100% logical, but Congress decided to do something that was completely illogical, and here's the regulation. So there's that. Hold your positions asks, I'm 68 and have an Advantage plan. This plan does not pay timely, and no MDs or dentists with a 125-mile radius will take it. Can I switch to a regular Medicare and a supplement? You can do that pretty much in every state if you can pass health underwriting. So if you want to switch to back to original Medicare and out of your Medicare Advantage, the time that most people can do it is starting October 15th to the December 7th. So you can get out of you can get out of your Medicare Advantage. And so it will, because your Medicare Advantage automatically ends December 31st. And if you don't do anything, then that plan automatically renews for January 1st, but under different details. Probably going to cost you more money if trends continue. So you get out of Medicare Advantage, you return to original Medicare Part A and Part B, and then you get into a Medicare supplement plan. But if you're not in a handful of states, then you'll have to pass health underwriting, which, they don't necessarily have to give you a physical or anything. They don't give you a physical. They just ask you a bunch of questions. So if you reach out to our sponsor chapter, they just say, hey, what are you looking for? Are you looking for a plan G or a plan N, or maybe you're eligible for a plan F, or whatever the case may be. And then they find a company with the best price and the best track record in your particular area. And then they ask you questions that company asks. And if you're able to say no to most of those questions, then you can get a Medicare supplement. And then remember, if you get a Medicare supplement, you also need to get a Part D prescription drug plan as well. But if you're not able to do that, then you just unfortunately have to get, another Medicare Advantage plan and try to get one that, covers more doctors and everything in your particular area. Normally, if you do a PPO, those are the ones with bigger networks. But unfortunately, at least two of the major Medicare Advantage companies in the United States have announced that they're going to be cutting back close to 1 million PPO plans. So about 1 million people with a PPO plan, they're going to be canceled. And a lot of those have already received a letter, which that gives them a guaranteed issue right to get a Medicare supplement plan without the health underwriting. So if you have a PPO by any chance, and they send you a letter, they're supposed to send you a letter by the end of this month that says, here's your plan, here's how it's going to change next year, or for you, hold your position, we decided to cancel your plan because we're not making enough money on it. And you should be very, very happy, because then you can get a Medicare supplement plan. So there's that. Let's see. Polish Hammer. After 4 years of fighting, 3 denials, calling 20 lawyers, and seeing a judge, I finally got approved. And they only gave me back pay for 2 out of the 4 years. Wow. Wow. You fought all the way. You are the Polish Hammer. So the back pay. They can give you a year, 12 months prior to when you actually filed, depending on a lot of variations, exceptions. So they approved you, and it's called a partial approval because, you said, you became disabled 4 years ago, and they approved you, but partially they said, okay, yeah, you're approved, but not for 4 years, only for 2 years. You can fight that as well. and you just, go through the process again. Unfortunately, you sound like you know the entire appeals process, which is what he went through, which is the level 1 reconsideration, the ALJ, the appeals council, probably just, probably didn't go to the appeals council, probably just the ALJ. And the ALJ gave him 2 of the 4 years. So you can fight that. But you have to be aware that, hey, Bella, how we doing? You have to be aware that if you do this, I just, cautionary tale here, you can do what you want, but I'm just telling you, I have seen this sometimes, that you appeal that partial decision and it goes back to another judge, a different judge, because that's how it works. It doesn't go back to the same judge. And when you appeal or something like that, it doesn't go back to the same Social Security employee. It goes to a different Social Security employee. Same thing with the judges. It goes to a different judge. And that other judge just might say, wow, I wouldn't have given this person 2 years. I would give him anything. Maybe 1 year, or maybe 4 years, or maybe, no, I don't think this person is disabled at all. So they cancel it completely. You do take that risk. You do take that risk. So I just want to kind of warn you, you can, do what you want there, but with full knowledge that just might happen. And remember, because they did approve you for 2 years prior, you're going to get your Medicare card if you haven't got it already, because you have been on disability for 2 years. And you're like, no, I just got approved last week. No, but they approved you for 2 years. So that means you're going to get your Medicare card. You've been on disability for 2 years. So you'll get your card in the mail. Make sure you watch out for that. The Part A, Part B card. If you have health insurance from work, which probably you don't for you, but if you have health insurance from your spouse's work, then you can refuse Part B, save yourself the $185. But if not, then, you got Part A, Part B, which is great, but there's a lot of gaps in Part A and Part B. So you will need to figure out how to cover all those gaps. The big one is Part B, there's a co-insurance of 20%. So you get a $100,000 Band-Aid, you have to pay $20,000 out of pocket. So there's a bunch of other gaps as well. So that's why people either get a Medicare Advantage plan or a Medicare Supplement plan. I always recommend looking at Medicare Supplement plans first, and then if it just doesn't work for you because of budget or whatever, then you get a Medicare Advantage plan. But for your case, depending on your state, probably all you can get is a Medicare Advantage plan, because in most states, they don't give Medicare Supplement plans to people under 65. It's terrible. So that's a state politician issue. So, Cindy, thanks, Dr. Weir. Your knowledge has saved many seniors from losing their minds. You are so appreciated. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's one of the things. I do these videos and people say that was completely useless. I watched that for all that time and it was useless. I'm like, great, that's perfect. Thank you for letting me know, because that means Social Security took care of you right, and you did everything right yourself, and the entire process went perfectly. And so great, that's awesome. We like to hear that I'm useless. My wife tells me that on a daily basis, so it doesn't hurt me when you say that. No, she doesn't. Anyway, but little self-centered there, because you did everything right and you were so awesome, and Social Security took care of you. I know there's people around you, friends, family, neighbors, that are not as lucky as you. So reach out to those people and help those people like the rest of our community does here. We have the best community. We are the real America. Real Americans take care of their neighbors. They don't attack them and demonize them, call them evil and wicked and stuff like that. We've got people from all walks of life here, and we just help each other out because we are the true American. My grandson moved to Oklahoma, and mom is guardian over his check due to his brain disability. She lives in Texas, but he was denied. The rep refused because mom not there. Moved to guardians over his check due to their brain. She lives in, but he was denied. Denied for guardian over his. So already receiving a check. So It sounds like a representative payee type issue. So it sounds like the grandson is already receiving benefits. Everything is good there, but they moved, so they needed to change the address or something. So because mom not there. Yeah, so the mom sounds like the representative payee. So the person in charge of the child's benefits. So yeah, that sounds normal. Social Security can't talk to anybody except for the person, you know, if that person is adult and it's their benefits, then they talk to that person. But if that person is not able to take care of their benefits because they're, you know, dementia or, you know, disabled or a child, then, you know, someone is the representative payee. So yeah, that sounds like, and unless there's other information there that, yeah, if you've got some other information, yeah, let me know. And hopefully I'm able to see your question. At 65, still working, and you can always change the representative payee. So the fact that they moved from Texas to Oklahoma makes not relevant to Social Security. Social Security is a national program, so that doesn't matter at all. I went to high school in Texas, right across the Oklahoma border. So there are major issues there, but those are cultural issues I don't want to get into between Texas and Oklahoma anyway. But in terms of Social Security, it doesn't matter. So yeah, so that makes no relevance that, you know, they can move anywhere they want. It sounds like a representative payee issue. So, but you can change the representative payee. So if someone else is now taking care of that child's benefits because they're somewhere else, then that person just goes in there and says, yeah, you know, mom's back in Texas, child's here now with me. I would like to be the representative payee. And they should reach out to the mother and say, hey, you know, grandma's here. She wants to be the representative payee. Cool with you? You say, yep, good with me. So easy, 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 easy. If you can get in the door, right? But now you know the trick to get into the door. At 65, still working with health insurance. Do I just simply sign up for Medicare Part A and that's it? That simple? You don't even have to sign up for Part A if you don't want to. If so, you're working, you have health insurance from work, you're happy with it, then you don't have to do anything. Unless you're currently receiving Social Security benefits. If you're receiving Social Security benefits already, the monthly check, they'll sign you up automatically for Part A and Part B. You can refuse Part B, but you can't refuse Part A if you're currently receiving benefits. There are very, 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 very small exception to that one. If you're having to pay for Part A. So, but yeah, if you don't want it, you don't have to do anything. But here's what I would do is a lot of people do sign up for Part A, even though they have health insurance from work, because Part A, the deductible for Part A, if you go into because Part A covers the hospital. So if you go into the hospital for something like that, sometimes Part A will cover some of the costs that your health insurance won't. Because Part A, the deductible is usually less than deductibles in a lot of health insurance, you know, work-related health insurance plans. And it's zero premium, so there's that. So definitely check that out. And so, yeah, so you can just sign up for Part A and then refuse Part B and refuse the money. Just say, yeah, I just want Part A, save myself deductible in case something happens, and don't want anything else. I'll call you when I call you. Sandy, Social Security goes by the month, not by the day of the month. If you put your benefits to begin in March, Social Security will bring your benefits in April, which is paid out in May. Yep. So yeah, if you begin March check comes in April, right? So depends if you're 62 the entire month. There's an exception there if you're 62, but yep. And it goes based on now it goes on based on your birthday. That's the only relevance there. Is if you were born the first 10 days of the month, you'll get your check on the second Wednesday of the month. The second 10 days of the month, you'll get your check on the third Wednesday of the month. And if you were born in the last 11 days of the month, then you'll get your check on the fourth Wednesday of the month. So, let's see. Sandy, will Social Security continue to have appointments? I have an appointment scheduled on October 3rd. Yep. If you have an appointment, then you have an appointment. So yeah, the shutdown thing won't affect that whatsoever. It hasn't before. I think this is going to be a little bit strange one. But yeah, Social Security employees are called essential services. You know, people need their checks. Could you imagine if Social Security shut down and they stopped sending out checks? Then the politicians know. Then there would be the old scene from Frankenstein, and not the young Frankenstein version. You know, with the pitchforks and just keep your appointment. You should be good. Medicare doesn't pay for dentists. That is correct. Well, what I say about exceptions, it does, but not how we think about it. Medicare can pay for dental work, but it has to be related. So if you have some terrible car accident and your face and jaw get all messed up, and in order to restructure your jaw, they have to do dental work, that's covered. So. But yeah, regular dental type stuff, cavities and cleanings and stuff like that, root canals, no, it's not covered by that. So there's exceptions on all this, isn't it? It's crazy. All right. Health underwriting scares me. I got a feeling I'll stay with the Advantage unless I don't get anything extra. The extra comes in handy. I wonder if drugs will skyrocket in 2026. Yeah. The drugs, I think there's a particular company that's going to do a massive lawsuit against the administration, and everybody knows what I'm talking about there. Tylenol, big pharma. That's one of the reasons, our health insurance in this country sucks is because, big pharma has bought the politicians, and so they have tons of money. But now, this administration has decided to go after one of their cash cows. So they are going to pay for that one. So, and then invariably we pay. So whatever happens, whatever the government does, there are representatives. So if they do tariffs, we pay for it. If they cut Medicare, we pay for it. If they cut Medicaid, we all pay for it. So, yeah. Let's see. Alan Greenspan, appearing before Congress, March 2005. There is nothing to prevent the federal government from creating as much money as it wants and giving it to someone. Yeah, it's because they turn on the printer, but that causes inflation. All you have to do is look back in history, and one day you could buy something for $1, and the next day you would need a wheelbarrow for money to buy a loaf of bread. So, yeah. Commercialized Medicare is unfair. A woman at my doctor's office found out she was canceled. Yeah. So probably the PPO or probably a PPO. Those are the ones being canceled because the health insurance companies, which I think, my personal opinion, so when I become the enlightened dictator of America, which I'm never going to run for office, so I'm just joking. Some people think I'm serious when I say this. That's the first thing I do. I get rid of, you just cover the gaps. It's so easy, Yes, is it going to cost us money, but it's going to cost us a lot less than what we're paying right now. Then here's what we do. We say, okay, we got Part A, Part B, and we got a bunch of gaps. And because there's a bunch of gaps, people need Medicare Advantage or Medicare Supplement. So privatized Medicare. So they're trying to privatize Social Security. So you'll have like a Social Security Advantage plan, like a Medicare Advantage plan, and everybody calls those Medicare Disadvantage plans. And, some people have good luck with them, and so it's better than nothing. But the better system would be just to fill all these gaps, and so you wouldn't need one. And then, obviously add Part D in there, prescription drug plans, and then add vision, dental, and hearing. That's it. Done. End of story. And then we wouldn't need any Medicare Advantage or Medicare Supplement plans. And Chapter, I'm sorry, then we wouldn't need you. And I've told the people that ran Chapter, I'm saying, I hope one day y'all are, and they're like, yeah, we know. We'll find something else to do. They're super, super smart, so they'll find something else to do if that ever happens. But we don't see that happening anytime in the near future. So there's that. If you are filing for Medicare at 65 and have regular medical insurance with your government retirement, do you still have to sign up for Medicare Part B? Normally, no, unless I think the post office changed that recently. If you're talking about the government, that is the DOD, you have TRICARE, then yes. So post office, yes. TRICARE, yes. But most others, well, even the post office, it depends what year we were hired and stuff like that. So. But other places, no. So, um, but I would reach out to, OPM, your agency, and just double check that. So half a person's DW benefits lump sum payment went to child support after garnishment was stopped. Who will be required to repay the heirs, Social Security or Child Support Department? Well, that's a good question. So the child support, what'd you say was alimony or something? Child support. Child support. Yes. So child support. So the Social Security gets garnishments like this every day for alimony or for, child support or whatever the case may be. And then Social Security takes action. If there's a court order, Social Security receives a garnishment, a court order garnishment, then on somebody's record, then they go in there and they reroute that $200 or $300 or $500 to, whatever the court says. So it really depends. If Social Security never got that garnishment, or they put in the wrong numbers, or whatever the case may be, or the court order was delayed for 2 years, or it really depends, what the deal is. But they're supposed to make it right. Even if, so I've had this happen before, is that somewhere along the line, something gets messed up. And this person is, the error happens $200 a month, so we got $12,000 that this person is overpaid, and the money should have gone over here. Then Social Security, what they do is, again, based on when they get their, if it's their error or something like that, if child support just didn't do the right thing, then that's a whole different issue. But if Social Security finds an error that they made, then they'll fix it and they'll say, okay, we accidentally paid this person $12,000 too much. We were supposed to pay that to you. So here's the $12,000. So they paid it twice. And then they will go and charge this person with an overpayment that they paid this person too much. So that's how it normally goes. There's a bunch of exception there. It depends on how they got the information and all the rest of it. So let's see. Tanya received a letter from my insurance company wanting to share exciting news about assistance programs. I have a value PPO plan. Should I inquire about this? Wow. Yeah. Exciting. Yeah, there's nothing exciting about health insurance or any insurance. So that sounds kind of salesman-ish. So, I mean, if it's you're actually insured, here's what sometimes happens is, let's say, for instance, you have a value PPO plan. So something exciting about that particular plan. So if this is your annual notice of change, and the exciting part, so I don't think that the fact that they cancel this PPO plan, like they're going to cancel about 1 million of those, I don't think that's exciting. So unless they're kind of, playing George Orwell with the language here and saying, exciting, we're going to be canceling you, but here's another option that we can make even more money on you, that we've got this great HMO plan, that doesn't have your doctors and stuff. And that's exciting for us because we'll make so much more. But so who's it exciting for? If it's from your company, it's the annual notice of change, then just check it and see what's going on. And if you know someone that, that is a Medicare health insurance broker, the difference between an agent and a broker, traditionally, sometimes people interchange them, but there's things called these captive agents. So if you call that plan, that person that helps you works for that company. So guess what company what plan they're going to recommend you? They're going to recommend you with that particular company, right? It's like Henry Ford, you can have any color car you want as long as it's black, right? A broker works for many different companies, or doesn't work for anybody actually. They're just contracted with these different companies, and then you call them up and then they ask you a bunch of questions. And speaking of, let me throw the things you need to look out for when you go, if you contact anybody, your broker, your agent who happens to be your high school buddy or something like that, and you're wanting to look for a new plan for 2026, here's the things that's going to make sure you get everything you need. You have your current plan, and that way you can compare it with, next year, and, so you compare apples to apples. You have your providers, which is your physicians, your doctors, your clinics, the ones you definitely want to keep in 2026. So you have a list of those. You have your prescriptions, how many you take and whether it's a tablet or a gel and the milligrams and all that kind of stuff. You have that available. If you have a pharmacy that you like going to, make sure you know the name of the pharmacy and the address and stuff. And then you have your priorities. My priority is, I can deal with a little bit extra money, but I have to have this particular doctor. Or I want to save as much money and I don't care which doctor I want. You have your priorities. Or I want as much dental as possible, or I want much vision as possible, whatever the case may be. And then in this season, a little bit of patience is good, because there's a million plans that have been canceled, and 2026, these companies are really cutting back from what we've seen. They're cutting back on extras. And on basics. So a lot of people are going to be out there shopping. But you haven't from October 15th until December 7th to change your plan, to review your plan and change it if necessary. And then your new plan will begin January 1st, 2026. So if you want, you can reach out to Chapter, write that number, take a screenshot of that, and be prepared when you call them up. And they will definitely help you out. And nobody charges you. No broker or agent in the country charges you to do this. It's a 100% free service. How do they get paid? Well, whatever company you pick, then they enroll you in that plan, and then that company pays that particular company. And in terms of full disclosure, Chapter throws us a few bucks when you use them. So, and that pays for the website and the new website that we're doing to help people out on Medicaid and food stamps and everything else. So we appreciate all our awesome sponsors there that help. And it's kind of a Robin Hood thing, so that we take that money and we build these resources that people can use for free to help them get their money. So these health insurance companies are unknowing them doing good. So, but don't tell them. If they found out they were doing good for humanity, they might get mad at me. So, be quiet. Texas C. Brown. My ex and I were married more than 10 years. I'm on SSDI, and he may be also on SSDI. He may still be working. He's 63 and I'm 61. What will I get at 62 if he's not working? It really depends on your benefit amount and his benefit amount. Even though you're receiving SSDI, you can still get spouse benefits, divorce spouse benefits, surviving spouse benefits, whatever the case may be. A lot of people think that prevents them. No, it does not. So you can get benefits, as a spouse, and receive SSDI. You don't get the full checks. One offsets the other. So it really depends on how much he paid throughout his life. But since you're still married, he has to be receiving benefits, whether it's disability benefits or retirement benefits, it doesn't matter. He has to be receiving benefits on his record in order for you to start receiving benefits on his record, because you're still married. There's an exception that if you're not married, that person doesn't have to be receiving benefits. They just have to be at least 62. So. And you can find out how much the benefit amount is. You can, you find out how much your full benefit amount, you find out how much his full benefit amount is, and then you will get up to 50% of his full benefit amount. It's going to be reduced because you're filing early. So, but there is a government program called DVR that would like your information. Should I share it? Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. The more we can get the information out there and help as many people as possible, that's what we're all about. So if you've got famous friends or relatives, and I think we had the Leave It to Beaver guy reach out and said he was going to do something. I'm not sure. But anyway, Jerry Mathers, yeah. But not sure if he ever did. But yeah, we're waiting for, some famous people to see the good thing that our community does here and put us on blast and stuff. But yeah, where can I get Social Security advice? Right here. Ask your question. There is one thing that we do charge for, is I have her name is Mai Jackson, and she also worked for the Social Security Administration for a few decades, and she takes one-on-one private appointments. So you can just click on there and you can schedule an appointment and talk to her directly about whatever. And that's the only thing we do charge for. She charges for that. But other than that, everything else is free. I came in here late. Will the government shut down? Yeah, you can watch this on, this is a TikTok question. So TubeU, but no, that it won't affect your Social Security benefits. So, but a lot of other things are going to affect your Social Security benefits. I know his will be way more. I wonder if it will be when I turn 62. Yeah, it'll be, if his is way more, then it sounds like you're eligible for benefits on his record, and it depends on how much that way more is, and it is going to be reduced because you're going to be receiving benefits early. Anytime you take benefits from Social Security, it's always reduced, except for disability benefits. So, daughter had a phone interview and didn't get the call. So after 45 minutes, she called them. They said they didn't have enough people to handle the call and had to reschedule. Yeah. It was even worse a few months ago when Elon Musk was going through there with this chainsaw and just, kicking people out and firing them and, laying them off and stuff like that. There's a lot of people that had appointments and then they would just sit there and wait. And then nobody called up because that person was removed from the agency by Elon Musk's chainsaw. So yeah, that's unfortunate. And the reason is, and again, this has been going on for a long time. This is nothing new. It's gotten a lot worse since, this whole Doge thing that's supposedly saving money, which is actually going to cause people to, cost a lot more money. This is the Social Security staffing. It's been going down for a long time. Even before this whole nightmare, Social Security was at a 50-year low in terms of staffing. And people say, who cares? You just file online. Again, a human being has to look at it. So AI just ain't there yet. Funny you should mention dental. Just got lower teeth extracted. Poor job. Had to go back and do extra extraction, but maxed out my dental plan. Okay, here's a trick, Jason. At the end of the year, here's what a lot of people do is if they have their Medicare Advantage plan and they have dental in there, or a regular dental plan even, all of those numbers reset, particularly Medicare Advantage, they reset starting January 1st. So what a lot of people do is they say, hey, the dentist says, you have $4,000 of dental we need to do. And you've only got $2,000 in your Medicare Advantage dental plan. So they say, okay, all right, let's do the bottom half, the $2,000. And then January, hopefully we'll know October 1st, that if your plan or a plan out there covers $2,000, then you say, okay, I'll do $2,000 in December and the upper part in January. So that's what a lot of people do there. So, let's see, get some other questions. Some people I don't recognize. Jan, there would be millions of people at the White House and Mar-a-Lago and the golf course where is there millions of pensioners and they would be pissed for real. Yeah, if the government was shut down, that is a fact. That is a fact. I think, unfortunately, that's, again, we've had 40 years and people, in comments sometime, they say, y'all have been talking about these cuts for 40 years and nothing's happened yet. Yes, we've been talking about these cuts for 40 years and saying that we've got 40 years, to turn the Titanic. We see the iceberg 40 miles away and we've got plenty of time. And then 39 and 38 and 37. And every year the Social Security trustees said, hey, that iceberg, maybe we should think about turning. And and now there's that. So let's see. I just got my Social Security, but I didn't get B. Oh, okay. So you just got Part A. So absolutely. So that's if all you need. If that's all you need, then that's all you need. But remember, if you didn't get Part B, that's fine if you have creditable coverage. That means you have health insurance from current work, yours or your spouse's, and that employer plan has 20 or more employees. So if you have that and you don't want B, then don't get B. Save yourself $185. I can collect at 67. Can I apply 6 months before my birthday to make sure I can collect at 67? Absolutely. And that's a good question. Thank you for that question. Because if you're doing it at your full retirement age, they can actually give you 6 months retroactive easy after your full retirement age. What does that mean? That means if something, you get busy and you don't contact Social Security until you're 67 and 6 months, then that's fine. Then at that time, they can give you retroactive back pay for 6 months after your full retirement age. So you can say, yeah, I was going to collect at 67, but I got busy, life is, got in the way. But so just go ahead and I'm 6 months late, but just go ahead and start me at 67, and they can do that because it's after the fact. So, all right, we have some video questions. We're over an hour, but I'm going to go a little bit longer today because we do have some video questions.
Hi, I'm looking for information. My husband died in 1987. I remarried and we divorced, but we were together 30 years. Which one should I file on?
Wherever you get the most money. Yeah. So you should, when you call Social Security, tell them that you were married to two people for 10 years or longer. They sound like you're both divorced. So yeah, you're potentially eligible for benefits on both of those records, on either of those records, not both. You can't get both, but so Social Security will say, okay, your first husband, Social Security number. If you don't know it, no problem. You just tell them the name, date of birth, where they were born. They can find the Social Security number. And they'll look at that one and they'll say, oh, $1,000 on the first one. You'll get extra $1,000 on the first one. Let's see the number two. Oh, $1,200 on number two. Number two's in winner. Let's go ahead and file a claim on number two. So you get it on whichever one is the most money.
I have a question. I signed up for Social Security, did everything through the computer, through a porthole, and I'm enrolled in Medicare, and I pay that $185 every month because I'm working full time. And I was just wondering, I have like 9 months until I reach full retirement. Will they automatically start the thing, because they contacted me and said that I made too much money to get a check because I'd be paying them back. I was just wondering, will they automatically, it says they suspended my benefit. I'm paying $185 out of my pocket.
Yes. So he applied for Medicare Part A, Part B, and applied for benefits at the same time, but because of the annual earnings limit, he's over that, so they stopped his check. So now he has to pay Part B himself. Yep. When they restart your check, then they will just take that $185. They always like to take that $185 directly out of your check. But if you're not receiving a check, then you need to make other arrangements. Yep. It'll be automatic. Just be careful that, not careful. You can't really do anything about it. If you're paying like 3 months at a time, there might be a month or two that you pay twice because you already sent in the check, and then they start taking out automatically from your Social Security. Don't worry about it. I know it's a nightmare. You're losing $185 for 2 months, but they will return that money. Once the computer system recognizes that you paid twice for 1 month, then they'll put that on the record as a credit. And then they'll give you that money back. So they'll fix it. That's automatic.
57 years old. I wanted to know if I am a surviving widow of a Vietnam vet receiving DIC from the death of my veteran husband. Can I still receive any type of Social Security via it be surviving spouse or SSI?
Absolutely. If the benefits are there, depending on the calculation and how much your benefits are, and it sounds like you're, yeah. So it depends on how old you are. Um, so possibly. So I would call Social Security and find out what the benefit amount is on his record. Again, if you if you don't know his Social Security number, no big deal. They'll find it. Yeah, then you just go ahead, and if there's extra benefits there, they will take a claim and you can get those extra benefits. And the fact that you're getting any type of survivor benefits from his military record has no relevance for Social Security at all. No issue whatsoever. So.
Hello. I hope I'm going right now.
Yep, you are. Go for it.
The question I have is, I'm divorced from a person after 10 years of marriage, and her Social Security is not based upon correct numbers for a couple of reasons. Number one, they never used my wages, which are far in excess of her wages. And I did not file taxes for 10 years because I was basically bankrupt and trying to work myself out of it. And so after 3 years, those taxes, which I eventually filed and eventually paid, so they're paid years, after 3 years, because there's a statute of limitation, they were not added to my Social Security numbers. They also have not been added to her Social Security numbers, even though during those years, we were not married. So she could not have known that I was not filing.
Yeah. There's exceptions on that one, but yeah, he is generally right. If it's 3 years, 3 months, and 3 days, it's weird. Yeah, a limitation there. So if you see anything incorrect with your Social Security record, you try to get it corrected. And sometimes in this particular situation, because he didn't actually pay taxes, and then there is that limitation there. But other times, if you find something that's incorrect 10 years ago on your record, and Social Security looks and they see it's called a suspense file where Social Security, oh yeah, you paid it. It would just put under someone else's Social Security number, or was out there in limbo. So even if it's after 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, if it's in the system and it's just in the system incorrectly, then they'll add it to your record and increase your benefit amount. But his particular case, unfortunately, no. And unfortunately, that is going to affect anybody else that is receiving benefits on his record. So, yeah, unfortunately, you're stuck. That's, yeah.
Yes, I am wondering, I started collecting survivors benefits. I was on SSI, and I started collecting my ex-husband's Social Security when I turned 60. I'm now 63, and I've lost my Medicaid. I didn't realize that was going to happen, so now I have no insurance. Will I be able to get Medicare? Can I get Medicare now, or do I have to wait till I'm 65 and go with no insurance until I'm 65? That's my question. Thank you.
Yeah, we're going to see this a lot. Even people that are eligible for Medicaid are going to be losing Medicaid because of the system. They're making it so much more difficult to jump through the bureaucratic hoops, and for a conscious decision to do that to save money. So rather than saying, hey, yeah, you're eligible, but we're going to kick you off anyway, they can't do that. They're going to say, yeah, you're eligible, but, oh, you forgot to check this box on this form. Oh, you were a day late. Oh, this, that, and the other, or we lost the paperwork. And so we're coming up with a system to prevent that. But number one, if you think you're eligible for Medicaid and you're still eligible, and you think they made an incorrect decision, please, please, please fight it. Reach out to Medicaid and say, no, I disagree with you. You said I'm not eligible because of this, that, and the other, whatever. I disagree with that, and then tell them the situation. Unfortunately, for Medicare, yes, if you are going to be receiving survivor benefits, then you're not eligible for Medicare until you turn 65. You said you were receiving SSI. That's the Supplemental Security Income. It's a needs-based program Social Security administers. And then here's the strange thing, is that you're receiving disability benefits, SSI disability benefits, because SSI you can get based on, again, low income, low resources, but based on either being disabled or aged. That means 65 and older. That's based on a disability. If you're under 65, over 65, it's based on being over 65. But Medicare does not come with SSI because Medicare money comes out of general taxation. That means you didn't pay into Medicare enough, so you're not eligible for Medicare. You're not eligible for SSDI. It's confusing, but if all you were receiving is SSI, and not SSDI. If you're receiving $1 of SSDI, that means you're insured and you should be getting Medicare after 2 years. But if all you were receiving is SSI, then unfortunately there's no Medicare with SSI, unfortunately. So triple check. You may have been receiving SSI, but maybe okay, here's an outside chance. You thought you were receiving SSI, but you didn't know you were also receiving, $1 or $10 or $100 from SSDI. And if that's the case, then you're entitled to Medicare after 2 years. And maybe you got it, and then the Medicare card went someplace else and wasn't delivered or something. So I would call Social Security and, triple check that, make sure that the correct decision was made. And then call and fight Medicaid. If you disagree with the decision, then you need to fight and get your Medicaid back. If not, then unfortunately, you have to wait till 65. It's so can't help anymore on that, unfortunately. So. All right. We are way over the hour, way over the hour. So I apologize for all those people I didn't get to your questions. I will be back again tomorrow, come up with another topic of the day, and then we'll answer as many other questions as we can. Remember, you can go onto my website, mygovexpert.com, click on the little camera icon on the bottom left and ask your video question, and I will answer that tomorrow. There was a couple of other video questions I wasn't able to get to do today, so I'll do those tomorrow. All right. Y'all take care. Have a beautiful day. And please take care of each other. Bye-bye.